You can't tell in a video, but my husband and I have a nickname for pieces that are extra heavy. We call them mammoths. And this big boy falls into that category. I really hope that under the imperfections I can find solid wood I can leave exposed. Welcome back to A Life Refurbished, where you are reminded through furniture finishing that there's hope. I can't tell you how many times I've sanded a dresser hoping to see solid wood and found plastic instead, especially when it comes to the drawer frames. This time I'm not jumping into any conclusions. Let's get this guy clean with soap and water, followed by a good sand to see what's under there before I make any decisions on the finish. Since my teenager was in need of some cash, I hired him for a day to help me sand this big guy. So while he used the sanding system from Surfprep, I got a bunch of the finish removed with my scraper. I could tell that the legs and base were solid wood, and I knew that I wanted to leave at least that much wood exposed. I also think that the wood grain design on the front drawers is beautiful, and it would be great if I can leave those exposed as well. It has been my experience when I see a wood grain design like that, 99% of the time the drawer fronts are made from a wood veneer, so we need to sand carefully, making sure that we're not burning through it. The more I'm sanding the frames and the front drawers with the help of the hand grips and the scraper, I'm getting excited. They look like solid wood, so guess what? We're going to treat this dresser so the wood grain is visible all throughout. Just a quick reminder, don't go overboard putting too much pressure on the scraper because these can scratch up your wood. Depending on the wood that you're scraping, sometimes scraping can leave the wood feeling a little rough. So it's important to sand one more time using 180 grit to get rid of that. To keep the curvy angles intact, I'm sanding the last round with a soft, bendable, medium grit abrasive and my Surfprep orbital sander. As soon as I'm done cleaning here with a TSP substitute, there are a couple of significant imperfections where the veneer is missing on the top. After using a wood filler to cover them, I'm applying a color wash on the entire piece to camouflage those spots. Even though the imperfections like this one are obvious to the eye, they're shallow, which means that I only have to wait 30 minutes after applying the wood filler, and then I can come back and sand it till smooth. One of the drawer dividers had a small crack that I glue with this fast curing wood glue. This glue leaves a whitish residue after drying. All I do to get rid of that is sand it with a medium grit sanding sheet. Perhaps my favorite part about this product is that it dries completely in 30 minutes. This drawer slide also needed a little bit of help to stay in place. I used a 220 grit sanding block to smooth any repairs, and man, oh man, I'm loving the wood grain so much. There is one spot that's a little worrisome that might look like bleed through, and although I not always prime before applying a color wash, this spot is a good indicator that in this occasion I probably should. 2 coats of clear shellac from Sensor were applied. Different to other primers, clear shellac will not prevent the wood grain from absorbing the color wash. For the contrary, it will make the wood absorb the paint evenly while blocking any tannings at the same time. After 1 hour has gone by since applying the last coat of shellac, scuff sand gently to remove any sheen the clear primer left to ensure that the new paint job will stick. And finally, wipe off any remaining dust with a tack cloth. For the color wash, I'm using the color Algonquin from Fusion and both the 2-inch Pound Pro and square brushes from Zebra. Your paint water mix should look runny like it does here. And even though I've shown you these a zillion times, here I go again. Mix 1 part paint to 4 times water. Let the color wash sit for 1 minute and then use a wet rag or wet shop paper towel to wipe off any excess. The key to achieve an even color wash is to make your brush strokes nice and long, following the wood grain, and follow the same principle as you're wiping off the extra. Remember that a color wash dries rather quickly, so I always work in sections. Like the top part here, I divided in 3 sections. With each section, I apply the color wash, wait 1 minute, wipe off the excess, and after I did my wiping of that section, then I move on to the next application, and so on. It's very common to wipe a little too much in certain sections like the one here. In that case, just come back with your wet rag. There's gonna be plenty of paint in there that you can just wipe back in that area. I just have to tell you how easier it is to go into all the nooks and crannies with a square brush here when you have a lot of 90-degree angles or just edges with lots of curves. The square brush from Zebra is perfect for this job. As I'm moving farther into the color wash technique, I'm realizing that perhaps I want to add a little bit of warmth to this color. What's coming to mind is adding an oil-based stain over this water-based paint. Normally you want to wait 72 hours between a water-based product like the color wash and an oil stain, but things were drying so fast because the weather was perfect. Also, a color wash will dry way faster than if you were to apply the paint in full strength. This is why I only chose to wait 48 hours before applying the oil-based stain. Today I'm using Western Oak, a fast-drying stain from Varathane. Always stir the stain before using to mix all the pigments. Using a staining pad is the easiest way to tackle a project of this size. Quick tip: to prevent the fibers from sticking to the new finish, use a piece of tape to remove any lint. For a light stain application, all you need to do is dip in the tip of your pad and apply following the direction of the wood grain. I spent a good amount of time washing and scrubbing the old hardware in hopes to reuse it, but after I put it on, I felt like it was too chunky and distracting. I wanted the wood grain to be the star of the show today. Because of that, I made one last minute call, like it seems I do quite often, and order some hardware that was a little bit more plain but still fit this style, and you're just gonna have to hang out with me until the end to see what I chose. One final thing regarding the stain application. For the drawers, I found it easy to use a foam brush to get into all those tight 90-degree angles. Also, notice how the stain application is very light. Since my top coat is a water-based product and I'm going to be applying it over this oil-based one, I want this coat to be very, very light. This finish is giving me all the restoration hardware vibes, which I completely love. as I'm protecting my piece with my go-to high performance top coat from General Finishes, I can see the finish line, and let me tell you, I'm super excited to show you the after of this guy. Are you ready to take a quick look into the past? And this is how it looks today. Let me know what you think of today's transformation in the comments, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed today's content. I will see you next time.